All right, morning everyone. Welcome to another episode of Market Trading. I'm your host, Tone Vays. Put the camera up a bit. I don't feel like using the software. Still have my green screen up from those last couple of streams. Let's take that green screen down. But the financial summit happening in Dubai, November 5 to 10. Visual background and none. There we go. Camera up. Yeah, that happens because of all the green leaves behind me. Beautiful weather up here in North Pennsylvania. That's where I've been the last several days. I'm off to Miami tomorrow morning. So you can catch me down in Miami. Other than that, well, I'll be back here, actually. So it's Miami, and then I will be back up this way. All right, so without any further ado, let's go to the charts and take it from there. Markets are moving. This is our short-term chart. Let's go to the most relevant charts first. That's kind of how I like to do it. The most relevant chart is, of course, the position. The 100% bullish position is no more. I have explained the rules in the last several streams, and the rules were simple. If today's candle was going to even touch $29,500, the allocation was to be lowered. So the moment we crossed $9,500 line, which is approximately where I drew this line right here. Yep, I drew that pretty perfectly. The moment this line was touched, the moment we went below the candle from July 16th, you can see the low on this candle was $29,522. The moment we go below that low by $2, that means the allocation is going to be lowered. Lower to what is the question? Well, last time we lowered that position to 80%. So anything in the vicinity of 80%. You can go 80, you can go 75. It's up to you. We can just go 80. I don't want to cheat. I can say, oh, I knew it was going to go all the way down. I would have lowered it to 60% or 50%. I'm not going to do that. We're just going to take this 80% and we're going to stick it right here. So we are lowering the position to 80% of the bullish case. Now, the whole point was to make sure we are lowering away from the 100% bullish position before it makes it down to where it was 100% bullish position, right? We want to take some profit. And we are taking profit. It's unfortunate that we did not consolidate before the big pop. The big pop is coming. I think that we have very, very clean support right here at the long-term moving average. And if we're breaking the long-term moving average, I will lower that back to 50%, exactly the way we did it back here. There will always be some bullish allocation because we are in a bullish trend. And one of these days, we're going to significantly pop to the upside. And we want to make sure we're at 100% bullish position. You don't want to be in a bearish position when you're doubling in price over a span of a couple of weeks. So we are lowering to 80%. We have crossed below two moving averages. We have two moving averages have now declined. And they have crossed over. It's not as bad as the low prices we had down to 25,000 a few weeks ago, but it's still not great looking. So we are following the rules. I am still overall bullish. We can back up to the weekly chart and see what's going on a weekly scale. On our weekly scale, we are just pulling back into the top moving average right here. All right. We have a red star candle. That is not a good sign on a weekly scale. But the last time we had a red star on a weekly scale, it didn't materialize into much. And we had a nice hammer candle right after that. And we reversed from there. So let's give this a little more time. The overall picture is still consolidating nicely. Long-term view. This is the, well, if it shows up, let's see. All right, chart doesn't want to load. Okay, so we'll skip that. Daily chart. Daily chart has given us a bearish indication based on Matt's alphanumerics. Now, alphanumerics does still have this green wave, so there are two different parts here. This bullish versus bearish is simply a crossover of exponential moving averages that I just took out of view, but it is an indication that you need to be careful. You see my consolidated range. We have fallen out of this range, and it's time to be a little extra cautious, but we only pulled back to the 50-period moving average. I don't like this candle. I don't like these huge expanded range candles to the downside. So it is concerning. You have another moving average right below it. You can see that these moving averages are starting to diverge, which is good because they've been running in parallel for a while. And that's a bad sign. This was specifically set to $29,500. And the moment we broke that area, it was time to reduce the low end position. No, you're lowering allocation, right? Because the reason why the allocation needs to be lowered immediately is because it's happening in an environment where the moving averages have already been crossed over for multiple candles. This is now the second candle after the moving average crossover, and now you have two moving averages that are going down. See, this blue moving average was still rising on the last candle, and the last candle was the first candle after the moving average crossover. That's a very, very different environment. So if we were crossing 29,500 last candle, I would have stayed more patient and given it the opportunity to pull back up by the end of the candle's lifetime. But on current candle, the environment is significantly more bearish because last candle closed below both moving averages. They were already crossed over, and the current candle has already pushed the intermediate term moving average down. And that is why I am lowering the position immediately, even in like the first 10% of the candle's life, versus if it happened last candle, where I would have waited till the last 20% of the candle's life to do the same. Very, very different environments between current candle and last candle. All right, before I go on to other markets, check out tonevays.com. We have on-demand videos, slightly more advanced education that does cost a little bit of money, but very reasonable. Strongly recommend technical analysis and risk position management. Also, RIP to Tyler Jenks. I didn't tweet it out, but Tyler Jenks passed away, I believe, on the 23rd. I believe it was the 23rd of July, all the way back in 2019. I can't believe it's been 3 full years since Tyler Jenks has passed. I have been meaning to release the Consensio for free. I am going to Miami this week. When I get back to right here in the woods, we're going to release it for free, and we're all going to watch it together. I'm going to set these videos as premiere, and we are going to watch them. I really hate watching videos on regular speed. I'm a 2x guy, but we will watch them at normal speed and then and really pay attention to these videos. And also, of course, the MRI indicator itself. You can purchase it off the website as well for $400. The Financial Summit coming to the UAE, November 5 to 10. Join us there. And Unconfiscatable coming back to Las Vegas, December 7 and 8. There's the video. Follow us on all kinds of social media as well. All right. Let's go on. Daily chart I already discussed. We are continuing to go lower, and this is why we lowered our allocation, but we're not going to panic. We're not going to panic. I believe this is a dip. People are going to buy. I see the next moving average as very good support. That is sitting at $28,500 area. If we fall below that, it would be time to lower our allocation some more. Now, on a shorter term scale, where would you identify a problem? Well, you would identify a problem right here. You have a red star candle going below the prior. Beautiful consolidation. This is on 4 hours. The tone-based rules of trend lines is to draw a line that touches the most number of candles without breaking any of their bodies. This is the most perfect line you can draw. You can see that I'm not touching any of these bodies. I can even go back and touch this candle as well. That is a lot of candles in this consolidated range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's close. That's 8. That's 9. That's 10. That is 10 candles out of, say, what, maybe 30 candles or so. Not sure how many candles that is. I can check. I think I hold the shift key. How many candles is that? That is 39 out of 40 candles. That's 25% of the candles are touching this line. And then right here, red star candle touches this line, it just goes straight down. Okay. So this is the time where you have to admit that the market has, it's like that line from the movie Big Lebowski. Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you. Sometimes you eat the trade, sometimes the trade eats you. So this consolidation was on a larger term scale, it was bullish, but on a 4-hour scale, this is bearish. Because look, you're coming in from a swing high down, and now you're consolidating at the low point, and you're consolidating even at a lower point than the prior area. We can do the same concept. We can draw the best fit line. Yes, we are breaking a couple of candles here. It's unfortunate, but look how many candles are touching this line without breaking it. And now we draw a similar line at a lower level. So drawing it at a lower level obviously creates a bearish environment. And this bearish environment broke to the downside. I don't expect it to last too long. And, don't forget that this was a daily. Okay, let me go back to the daily. Totally missed the fact that this is an MRI buy candle on the daily MRI. However, this daily buy candle is happening in consolidation. This is not how I want to see my daily MRI buys. I want to see my daily MRI buys come off the lows. I want to see lows. So again, not where I want to see my MRI buy candle. See, this MRI buy is happening consolidation. This MRI buy is happening at the low. This is way better. This MRI buy is somewhere in between. While it is happening in consolidation, the candle itself went down and made a low swing. It's not low enough. I would have been a little extra cautious on this MRI buy. I would have been very cautious on this MRI buy. This is a beautiful MRI buy. And I was cautious on the current MRI buy as well, even though we were 100% bullish in the market, but we were 100% bullish in the market for different reasons. Satoshi, thank you for commenting on the Financial Summit. Okay, GBTC. Now, this is very, very good. You can see how the GBTC is down big because Bitcoin is down big, but look at the GBTC discount. GBTC discount fell just 1%. That is a very, very small fall in GBTC discount, and that is a very, very good sign. We are going to go up eventually, and when we do, I do expect the GBTC discount to break above that 20% barrier. Sand Snake, thank you so much for your super chat. Tone, today is supposed to be NASDAQ rebalancing. Are you familiar with it? And how it will affect the market short term? Can you look at NVIDIA? So we discussed NASDAQ rebalancing in depth yesterday on Twitter Spaces. So if you go to, what the hell is this? Oh, God. He rebranded. That's right. By the way, I just found out about this yesterday in our spaces. So if you go to Financial Summit, I don't know. I'm still going to call it Twitter. I mean, this is going to be so weird. This is just so weird. I don't know. I need to get on Nostr. I need to just get rid of this damn platform. But this is where I have all the followers. Like, how am I going to be popular with the girls without my 300,000 Twitter followers? I'm kidding, guys. So it literally just changed, right? Because it was Twitter when I sent out the tweet 15 minutes ago. It must have changed at exactly 11 a.m. No, this is insane. I, 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 I I think Elon's messing up. I think his ego is getting the best of him. Anyway, we did a Twitter Spaces yesterday, and we discussed NASDAQ rebalancing. Nikki Dunn joined us. She's been a trader for a long time. She attended the Financial Summit as well. Her and Chris Dunn. Nikki Dunn is the wife of Chris Dunn. They're both awesome traders, have a pretty good following. Yeah, the whole thing's just weird. Just weird. So yeah, we discussed it. I'm not an expert on, what does the NASDAQ rebalancing means. Nikki is way more attuned to that. We're already bouncing a little bit on a daily scale. So let's see. Let's see if the worst is behind us. We can always go back into a 100% bullish position when we need to. Oil, you can see oil rising, and this is great. That means that the Biden administration has slowed down siphoning off of the strategic oil reserve. As mentioned on this channel, in the last video, they did not siphon off any oil when they announced it last Wednesday. So we're going to wait 2 days. We're going to get new numbers on Wednesday. Wednesday is also the Fed call. The Fed announcement is coming. You can see there is a 99% probability that the Federal Reserve is going to raise rates. And the markets seem to not have a problem with that. We're going to take a look at the stock market in a minute. And we'll get there. But you can see oil is rising. And it's out of the range where the government is planning to buy oil. I think they can't siphon off any oil right now. They have to wait until we're closer to the election. And when we're closer to the election, they're going to start siphoning off more oil reserve. All right. Saitoshi, thank you for your comment. I'll read it out loud. Thanks for your super chat. Thanks for the Financial Summit. I managed to improve my trading, especially time when I trade. I sleep now much better. Thanks, Don, for the advice. Beautiful. Awesome. They're asking me to celebrate your first super chat. I don't know what that. Oh, these are the U.S. budget. Yeah, I did a full deep dive on U.S. budget. Guys, if you haven't seen those videos, I strongly recommend you going to watch a video on YouTube. And please subscribe to our Financial Summit channel. There will be educational material being posted there. If you go to my channel on go to my live videos, I strongly recommend right here, this one, a deep dive into net interest. I basically explain how and why the United States will economically collapse. And it all has to do with net interest. And right now I'm at the cabin. And tomorrow I'm flying down to Miami. Oh, speaking of Miami. So in Miami, I'm there for 2 reasons. One of those reasons is Mining Disrupt. I will be moderating a panel at Mining Disrupt. I may not be on their speaker list, but I will be at Mining Disrupt. But there's one more super cool event, and it's called Epic Talks. So if you Google Epic Talks, Miami, Epic Talks Miami, right here. Okay, they have a cool Instagram channel, amazing networking events. It's only about 150 bucks. I'm not sure how much the one is coming up. It's a business networking event. They usually have pretty good speakers. They're really good speakers coming in. And check it out. It's where is it this time? 350 South Miami Avenue. I gotta check out where that is. It's usually on South Beach. I need to look up that address. I will be here Wednesday night. So come and join us from 7 to 10 p.m. I don't think tickets are that expensive, maybe 100, 150 bucks. Melissa also was at the Financial Summit in the Dominican Republic. She hosts this incredible event. So check it out. Come join us on Wednesday. All right, that's all for the announcements. Natural gas, that's a beautiful consolidation, and I am bullish on natural gas. Gold, I remain bullish on gold off the weekly MRI. S&P 500. S&P 500 is holding strong. I remain bullish on the S&P 500. Jack the Ripper, Tone, was stopped out many times between 25 and 28, and finally decided to buy and hold at 31. But thank you for your opinion. No, you're welcome. Yeah, you shouldn't be getting stopped out all that much. The best strategy is to just dollar cost average and buy and hold. Now, if we back up to when I was most adamant about the price of Bitcoin, remember, guys, I was calling for a pullback to 20,000, and I indicated that the bounce off of 20,000 was one of the greatest buying opportunities I've seen in the entire history of Bitcoin. So I was as confident in this bounce of 20,000. I didn't put my label up there till 23,000. My initial target was 34,000. This target seems low. This target is certainly bigger, but I will probably put another one of these monster labels, and my next target is going to be significantly higher. Significantly higher. My initial targets are pretty tamed. My initial target was 34,000 off of the $20,000 bounce. We made it to 31. Still waiting for that 34, and eventually significantly higher. Our correlation chart. The S&P is on a daily MRI sell. Bitcoin is down a bit. I'm not really sure why Bitcoin is down today. Maybe someone has a good explanation. I have no idea. But we trade TA. This is my stock chart. Unfortunately, my charts aren't loading at the moment. You can see right here, it's just not loading. So if, okay, this did load. Great, so I can look at some stocks. This happens to be Tesla. Tesla was on a weekly MRI sell, sorry. Moving averages have crossed over into positive territory. I would still be a little bit careful on Tesla. We did close the gap. And let's see what it looks like on the daily. We're on a bearish count on a red star candle. I would wait for Tesla to break back above the moving average at 200. So I would wait for 275. If Tesla is above 275, then I see it as a buying opportunity, or I would wait for an MRI buy somewhere around the 240 range. Those would be my potential trades into Tesla. Let's look at some stocks. NVIDIA was requested. NVIDIA is looking great. NVIDIA has pulled back to its prior area of a top. It's at a moving average right now. It's working on a bullish candle, a nice bullish harami here. I would potentially wait for an MRI buy on the daily. I would stay a little bit extra patient. I wouldn't rush into it now. On a weekly scale, NVIDIA does have room to go down quite a bit, a little bit more. I would wait for the lower 400s before rushing in. I think NVIDIA has gone up a little too far, a little too fast. Oh, on a weekly scale, it has beautiful. It can easily go back down to the prior swing high, which is at $337. And at that point, it would reach its intermediate moving average. Now, alphanumeric says just stay long, nothing to worry about until you break a lucid SAR, which is sitting at 415. I would not rush into NVIDIA right now. I would stay patient. And yeah, we talked a lot about NVIDIA, not a lot, but I did more of a fundamental analysis on NVIDIA over in Twitter Spaces last night. So again, check out the Twitter Spaces. Go to Twitter. It's still Twitter. He forgot to change the icon at the top of the menu. Maybe Elon is just confused over some gender identity stuff. But this is still Twitter to me. And check out Twitter Spaces that we did yesterday, where we discussed NVIDIA, amongst other things. What else was requested? COP is a currency, so let's go with ExxonMobil first. ExxonMobil weekly does not look very bullish to me. I would stay away. It is now below both moving averages. They are about to cross over. Alphanumerics has a red, what do you call it? Wave. It already indicated a bearish move based on moving average crossovers. It's not looking great. There was no diamond up there. That's not a diamond there. Oh, there's a green, beautiful green diamond with an MRI. Wow, what a beautiful buying opportunity there. And we just wait. I would stay patient on ExxonMobil. I can look at COP. Now I want to go to my currencies list. Yeah, DXY was really crashing. It's bouncing back a bit. I'm still reluctantly bullish on DXY only because I know other Western currencies are down a bit, like further down the toilet. And I just think the dollar is going to go up against other currencies. I did say that I think GBP is done. It was coming up on a weekly MRI sell. We reversed before that. We may not even get that sell indication, unfortunately. Japanese yen, this is the reverse. So the rising in the chart strengthens the pound, but the rising in this chart weakens the yen. And I think the yen's going to get even weak. Brazil was one of the highlights where the currency is strengthening, which is good. And Colombian peso was another one. It's down here somewhere. The Colombian peso is sitting right at support. I don't like to cyclically trade currencies, but I don't see the Colombian peso rising in value anymore. It's already up, what, 25% maybe? Yeah, 23. And yeah, I think it's time for the Colombian peso to start to weaken a bit against the US dollar once again. Let's take a look at the Russian currency and the Turkish currency. Should do it this way. I think Turkish currency will likely to continue to devalue. Indian currency is showing some strength. I'm a little surprised. I really thought this would break out to the upside. And the Russian ruble is starting to consolidate in the 90 area. It is an MRI sell to show the Russian ruble could appreciate any minute. However, it is happening in consolidation, which is why I'm not jumping all over the MRI sell. And it's a currency, so it can continue to devalue. And the Ukrainian currency does not have a free market at all. It is simply being controlled by the United States. The United States is maintaining Ukrainian currency. The United States is paying every Ukrainian government employee. They're basically funding this war against Russia through Ukraine. That is what's happening. This is undeniable. This is just a fact. If the Ukrainian currency was in a free market, it would have already hyperinflated. Completely hyperinflated. They would not have had a chance to finance anything, really. They wouldn't have been able to, they would not have been able to pay a single soldier. Every Ukrainian soldier would have been fighting, out of, their heart and not for money. And a large fraction of the Ukrainian military is fighting for the money, not everybody. A lot are fighting for their home, but a lot are like a lot of mercenaries are fighting for the money, and the United States is funding that endeavor. It's just facts. So the war goes on. I'm not expecting peace in that area for a while. The war will go on. HSI futures. What's HSI? Because HSI on here could be different than what's HSI on regular brokers and stuff. I have my commodities. I don't think I have HSI here. I'm not sure what HSI is. Hang Seng, but that's an index. So India bans rice exports. Interesting. Well, India might be concerned over the stoppage of the grain deal and Russia blocking the Black Sea. So they want to make sure that Indian farmers aren't selling rice for, let's say, triple the price to other countries, because now other countries feel that they're not going to get any grain. And Indian farmers can take advantage of that by selling the price of rice out of the country at a huge increase in price to their own benefit. And the Indian government is saying, no, 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 we're going to get the rice first. You're not allowed to export rice, so that people in India will have first chance to get to that rice at a cheaper price. Then you can export that rice to other nations. Hang Seng, thank you. Yeah, that would be in my indices section. So when you said futures, so these aren't really futures, just the Hang Seng index, not the tradable version of it. Wow, what a beautiful weekly MRI buy with extension C and the green diamond from Alphanumetrics and a monthly MRI buy. This is absolutely incredible. I wonder what happens if I go down to the daily scale on the 24th of October of last year. And on a daily scale, while I don't have an MRI, oh, I do have, wow, look at that. On a daily scale, with a weekly MRI buy and a monthly MRI buy, there's also a daily green diamond. I'm not sure if the green diamond is across all timeframes or not. I forgot to ask Matt that question when he was on the show. Matt, if you're watching this, and you probably are watching this, not in live time because you're asleep right now, based on what country you live in, but DM me later and let me know if this green diamond on a daily scale is literally the same green diamond from a weekly scale, and the green diamond is not it's not specific to a time frame, because the MRI is specific to a time frame. This daily MRI buy is not the weekly MRI buy here. Like these 4 candles are the weekly MRI buy. 5 candles, sorry, 5 days in a trading week. And this daily MRI buy is totally independent. But you can see right here that on this candle, there's a green diamond. There is a daily MRI buy. And the week earlier, like a few days earlier, there was a weekly MRI buy. And as of this day, there was a monthly MRI buy. You could, I don't know if I've ever seen this many MRI, this confluence of MRI bullishness in a single market. This is incredible. I've just seen this for the first time. I can't remember the last time I looked at the Hang Seng. So based on that alone, this could lead us to new all-time highs. You can see it again right here. In June of this year, in May of this year, going into June, a daily MRI buy with a green diamond. And I'm surprised the green diamond is happening on an up gap. Usually it's at the low. This could also be, again, a weekly green diamond. Is just showing it to you on a daily time frame. That's, like I said, that's the one question I really want an answer to. And we've been bullish since. We're still inside the green wave. I would be careful right now this week, but on a longer term time scale, I'd be bullish. I'd be careful. I'd be a little bit cautious. The monthly does not look good. Does not look good. I'd be cautious right now. But what a beautiful buying opportunity, though. Russia did promise free grain to friendly nations. Yes. Russia is going to be giving free grain to Africa. Look, it's really kind of crazy. I don't want to get into politics right now. I really don't. And I have not seen the news this morning. I heard that Ukraine sent some drones into Moscow. I haven't seen the news yet. I haven't I haven't read up on the details yet. So I don't even know how to summarize it. There's so much here. In order for people to really understand what's happening, you really need to spend 2 to 3 hours per day keeping up with all the news of the Russia-Ukraine situation. I do spend 2 to 3 hours a day keeping up with the Russia-Ukraine situation because it's important to me, but very few people are spending 2 to 3 hours a day. You pay attention maybe half an hour a week, and you think you know what's going on. I spend 2 to 3 hours a day keeping up with the Ukraine-Russia situation. And let me give you the summary of the last 2 weeks. Russia agreed to a grain deal allowing Ukraine to profit from selling agriculture to other nations, leaving the Odessa port through Istanbul Straits. What the hell do you call this thing? Oh man, I don't know. I had a lot of friends here barbecuing. I need to cut back on my drinking. Anyway, through the Straits, into the Mediterranean, and then over into Africa. Okay. So Ukraine and Russia and Turkey came to an agreement to allow Ukraine to move agriculture through the Black Sea. Now, I'm about to say something debatable. Ukraine has abused this privilege to shit, to where they were using these ships that were not meant to be military for military use. The West was smuggling weapons into Ukraine on these ships coming back, and Ukraine was using these routes to launch drones to attack Crimea. And yeah, not missiles, because that would be too easy to spot. And there were other issues, and Russia said, we're done with this grain deal. And they're saying any ship belonging to Ukraine is now considered a military target. And we're ending the grain deal. It didn't help that Turkey was supposed to hold on to a bunch of Nazis until the end of a bunch of Azov Nazis. And yes, there were Azov Nazis with Nazi tattoos on them. Turkey was supposed to, they were arrested in Mariupol when Mariupol fell. Turkey was supposed to hold on to them till the end of the conflict. Turkey released them back to Ukraine. Of course, they were hugged by Zelensky, who people think is Jewish. And yeah, and I don't know what's going to happen to them. They may be, put back. And these were like high-ranking military people. They're probably going to go back into fighting. Who knows, right? So Turkey pissed off Russia, and they could have done it on purpose in order to give Russia another reason to end the grain deal. Anyway, any ship going into Ukraine now is a military target because Russia is accusing these ships of smuggling munitions. This is identical to World War I. For those that don't know, look up the history of Lusitania. Lusitania. Ship sinking, okay? So here's how the United States entered World War I. Anything you read on Wikipedia is propaganda. We are reading propaganda. The RMS Lusitania was a British registered ocean liner that was torpedoed by Imperial German Navy during the First World War I on the 7th of 1915, about 11, United Kingdom. There were Americans on board. The passengers, remember, this was a passenger ship. This was like a cruise ship. This was a passenger ship, departed New York for the voyage to the British. So this was a ship going from New York. This is where it's saying. It was going from New York to the UK with Americans and Brits on board. Now, Germany, of course, there it is. Here it is. Oh, wow, Wikipedia. I'm surprised. This is a notice from the German government that was published in the New York Times. I don't know if it was the front page of the New York Times or not, but this is Germany warning Americans not to travel on the Lusitania, okay? Travelers intending to embark on the Atlantic voyage are reminded that a state of war exists between Germany and her allies and Great Britain and her allies. That the zone of war includes the waters adjacent to the British Isles. That is, so anyway, so Germany put out, and let me see, let me read it. It's been a while since I read this. My memory is good, but it's not good. By the Imperial Greater German government, liable destruction in these waters and the travelers sailing in the war zone of the ship. So this was published in the New York Times. Germany has accused the United States of shipping weapons to Great Britain on passenger ships, okay? So what happens? Here comes Lusitania. Germany bombed it with a single missile, as far as I remember, in my history. And the entire thing went up in smoke and blew up like a fireworks show. The entire hull of the ship was full of munitions that the United States was smuggling to Great Britain, because the United States was not officially in the war. And Americans died on this ship. And this was done on purpose. The United States wanted America to join World War I, but the American Senate did not want to vote for war. But after this ship was taken down, this was a false flag that the United States created. The United States put American citizens in harm's way in order to get everyone in America angry at the Germans in order to enter World War I. Now, we can say that this was the right thing to do. That is debatable, right? But I'm just speaking facts. The facts are the United States was smuggling munitions to Great Britain. Germany warned Americans in the New York Times not to sail on the Lusitania, and Germany blew up the Lusitania because they were violating, the rules of war, that the United States was not supposed to be funneling weapons into Ukraine. Now, this is identical to what's happening right now. It's incredibly identical. Now, this time around, the United States is not neutral in the war. The United States has made it public that they are supporting Ukraine with weapons. That's not debatable. But this particular grain deal of the ships traveling the Black Sea are not supposed to be a route for those weapons to leave or enter the Odessa ports. But Russia is convinced that they are, and they have evidence that they are. Now, we don't see that evidence because even if Russia has evidence, no one in the West is going to publish those evidence. And even if they did publish those evidence, it would be Russian propaganda. Like, no one would believe the Russian evidence, right? Russia has all this evidence that there are all these biolabs in Ukraine and all the kinds of illegal stuff the United States and was creating in Ukraine with these bioweapons. But no one believes Russia, and no one is even publishing the evidence. The same exact thing. Okay, same exact thing. So anyway, I think it's very possible that some ship, just like the Lusitania, with Brits and Germans and Americans and Canadians and who knows who else, they're just gonna, the rainbow flag. They're gonna put at least 5. They're gonna make sure it's diversity. They're gonna put, you gotta count the number of people. They're gonna have a diversified ship of at least 5 people of every race, every gender, every nationality. They're gonna put a person of every nation on the ship, on a ship, and they're gonna set a ship a sail through the Black Sea, just so Russia sinks it. And then they're gonna try to convince every single country with all the people that were on that ship that they now have to put boots on the ground and enter the war, right? Because Russia has made an announcement that any ship traveling through this region is now a military target. So if you want to avoid potentially dying in the Black Sea, I do not recommend you sailing on any ship in the Black Sea. Okay. In case there was a cruise, hey, free cruise through the Black Sea, you may want to avoid that. Again, if you have a free product, you are the product. And in this case, the product is a false flag attack to get Americans to want to go into Ukraine and shoot out with the Ruskies. So any free cruise from, say, Turkey to Romania, you're like, oh, it's Turkey to Romania. What can go wrong? Well, what can go wrong is you didn't look at the map, and your cruise from Turkey to Romania that could go through the Mediterranean. Well, maybe not, actually. That's Greece. My bad. No, you can't go from Turkey to Romania through the Mediterranean because you can only go from Greece to Turkey in the Mediterranean, right? So if you're gonna go from Romania or Bulgaria, Romania's here, Bulgaria's here. If you're gonna go from one of these countries to Turkey on a free cruise, you may want to think twice about doing that. Just a warning. Just a warning. Okay. Stay away from that. So in retaliation, Ukraine has said, well, now we're gonna consider every Russian ship going through the Mediterranean a military target as well. Now, remember, Russia has a naval base here, right? But Russia also has grain deals of their own, and they do ship grain to countries like Africa. And Russia has said they would provide free grain to certain countries. And now, because of Russia said that about Ukrainian grain ships, they said the same thing. So now Ukraine can also, based on their announcement, can also bomb Russian civilian ships. And that, I don't know if it's going to be easy for them to do. They don't have the kind of weapons, but it makes it very hard for Russian ships to now get insurance, and it could create a bit of problems. So we'll see how the situation goes. Anyway, that's one of the main issues that's been happening over here in the sea. How did we get on this topic, by the way? Oh, someone asked about the grain deal. Russia does not have enough grain to feed itself. Most of its grain is used for animal feed. Well, then Russia has enough animals to feed other people, right? Russia definitely has enough agriculture to feed itself. They also have a lot of fertilizer. And yes, people shouldn't be eating grain. Cows shouldn't even be eating grain. People should be eating cows, and cows should be eating grass. No one actually needs grain, by the way. I don't need any grain. No one needs grain. Let's start there. The rice ban, right? Vitaly Nosov. You saw a U.S. soldier walking around Kharkiv yesterday. I am skeptical on that. Um, it could have been, again, some crazy, some. The funniest comment someone said, it's like, shit's gonna happen when some bipolar Pole does something stupid. Again, it could have been anybody wearing an American uniform. I highly doubt U.S. is dumb enough to put a U.S. soldier in Kharkiv. All right, enough of Ukraine news. All right, I'm gonna get going. I need to go. We're gonna take a sneak peek at Bitcoin one more time. We're holding moving averages. That's good. We lowered our allocation, and let's see what happens tomorrow. All eyes are gonna be on the Fed. Well, you have to look at things from the Russian point of view. Russia is doing something that most of the world is not happy with. Most, right? Uh, it's unfortunate that Russia went into Ukraine shooting people. Even if some of those people were Nazis, they're still shooting, right? A lot of people don't like that. So Russia is trying to be as nice to the world as possible so that at least many countries are not angry at Russia for what they've done. So Russia is going to give free grain to certain poor countries in order to get those countries on their side. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all on the next one. By the way, Russia does have less people to feed because a lot of Russians ran away from Russia once they invaded Ukraine. Some people did that because they were scared they'd get drafted. Some people did that because they were angry at what Russia did. Now, a lot more people ran away from Ukraine. Actually, the numbers might be the same because Russia just has 4 or 5 times the population. Um, so a lot of Russians ran away to Georgia, Kazakhstan, uh, other areas. So a lot of Russians left Russia once they invaded Ukraine. Kazakhstan's a big country, big country, bigger than Ukraine. Crimea will fall to Ukraine. There are very few things I am 100% sure of. This is one of those things. Uh, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. I am actually more confident that Crimea would fall. The chances of Ukraine capturing Crimea are actually lower than Bitcoin blockchain losing to Dogecoin. Like the chances of Dogecoin becoming the currency of the world instead of Bitcoin are greater than Russia losing Crimea to Ukraine. So that's how this is an example of how delusional people are. People that think that Crimea will ever go back to Ukraine, they're more delusional than people of Doge. Like it's never gonna happen. It's not going to happen. Like let's start with the fact that there isn't a single Ukrainian in this whole region. Like imagine like your statement is similar to China is going to fall to the United States and Americans are going to be living in China and only Americans. Like not going to happen. Like you really need to also look at the geography of Crimea. Crimea has the only way to enter Crimea. The only way to enter Crimea is through right here. This is just look at the. I should go to a Google map, but right here and right here. These are the only two paths to enter Crimea. That's it. Okay. This is not passable. In the history of this region, the only way Crimea was ever captured was through here. And the only time it was ever captured is when the invading army had 5 to 10 times more people invading it than defending. This is one of the best defendable geographic positions in the world. Crimea is almost impossible to take over geographically. Geographically, it's like, think about it. It's like 1,000 people are like 100,000 people are storming the castle, and there's just one little door. So these hundreds of thousands of people are trying to fit through one door. And all you got to do is put a big machine gun on the opposite side of that door. And as the people funnel in one by one, just shoot them one by one, right? It doesn't matter how big your army is. It won't fit through the door, right? So it doesn't matter if you have 800 billion tanks. They have to fit one by one through this little thing right here, right here. Like, has anyone actually looked at the geography of Crimea? Like, you're not going to move through this area. You're not. So you got to attack it with the Navy. And how are you going to attack it with the Navy when Russia controls the Black Sea? Like, this is this is a region that is impossible. It's like virtually impossible to capture. Like you have to literally, there's one road. It's one little road. And you have a billion tanks. You're just gonna pile up behind each other. Well, like in what universe are people are just completely brain dead? Just go Google geographical advantages of defending Crimea. I think Crimea was captured once in 2,000 years, and the army that was captured it lost 10-1. They just had more people. Like there was like 1,000 people defending, and there was like an army of like 20 or 30,000 people, and they still almost lost. Well, I don't understand. What do you mean no incoming supply? There's literally a bridge right here. They keep trying to blow up this bridge, but they're not successful, right? And they can always supply it by sea. They can always supply it by sea. This is not capturable. Like it's people are completely delusional, completely delusional. This here is of strategic importance. Okay, here's another example. Let's go to the other side of the world. Let's go to the other side of the world. Hawaii is of strategic importance to the United States. Hawaii has a big US military base, the same base that was bombed uh, by Japan. Okay. China has a higher probability of capturing Hawaii and making Hawaii China than Ukraine has of capturing Crimea. There is a higher probability that China will own Hawaii, put its own nuclear weapons right here, and point them at Los Angeles. The United States has a much harder time defending Hawaii than Russia has of defending Crimea. Okay? If you think Crimea can be lost to Ukraine, then you believe that Hawaii could be lost to China. And Hawaii being lost to China, where they get to replace American military base with a Chinese military base, has a higher levels of magnitude of higher success. From a geographical means of acquiring Hawaii by China is a lot easier, like a lot easier than Crimea. Roosevelt 100% knew beforehand he could have stopped Pearl Harbor from ever happening, and yeah, the Pearl Harbor attack is no different than Lusitania. The U.S. government let it happen just to get all Americans angry at the Germans and Japanese this time, mostly Japanese this time, in order to enter World War II. That is correct. It's a lot easier for China to occupy Hawaii than it is uh, for Ukraine to occupy Crimea at this point. At this point. Walmart, and then we're gonna call it a day. Oh, I always forget the Walmart ticket. I don't know why. Looks beautiful. Stay bullish. Stay bullish. I'm very bullish. Wow, Walmart looks amazing. Walmart looks amazing. Green star candle. Everything looks great. That was a monthly chart. This is a weekly chart. Here's a daily chart. Walmart looks amazing. In 1918 for Russia was a very unique year. That was when the revolution was happening. It's a very different situation. That wasn't an invading force. Anyway, guys, understand geography, and understand history. And really think about why. You really have to think about why. Why is it harder to defend Hawaii for America than it is to defend Crimea for Russia? It's all geography. And by the way, Crimea is a lot more important to Russia than Hawaii is to the United States. This is the only port Russia has for access to all the sea mass, right? Both seas, Black Sea and Mediterranean Sea. This is the only access Russia has for their navy. Though navies aren't as important as they used to be because of planes these days and other longer-term artillery. But this is significantly important for Russia, okay? Hawaii is not as important for America because Hawaii has all this here. Like, so American Navy can access the Pacific Ocean from land, from the continental. They don't. This is not mandatory for them, right? But America also doesn't want a Chinese missile here, pointed here, because it's the distance just got cut by 2/3 from China, from China's mainland, right? This is why America is not happy if Russia and China start putting bases in Cuba. We'll be happy about that, or Mexico. But for Russia, this is huge. It's called an existential threat. I mean, if Russia loses Crimea to Ukraine, then America is going to put their own Navy base right here. They're going to just take over Navy and have American ships here. That would never happen. Russia would never allow that, ever. So, like I said, there's a higher chance that Dogecoin will overtake Bitcoin than Russia giving up this naval base to hand it over to the United States. Based on what happened in the last 2 years, it's something I thought would be unthinkable, but based on what happened in the last 2 years, I would not be surprised if Alaska ends up going back to its prior owners. I would not be surprised. It's still very unlikely. Very unlikely. It's still very, very unlikely. But it can, again, very unlikely. But the problem is there's nobody competent in charge of the United States. That's the difference. All right, this is a huge debate over if Canada is a real country or not. I'll save that for next time. All right, bye, guys. Thank you all for watching, and see you all on the next one.